Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving into the world of international diplomacy, with a focus on Thailand's role on the global stage.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. You shared some news articles in Thai about recent events, especially about Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra at the APEC summit.
Right.
So we'll be looking at Thailand's relationship with China, potential BRICS membership, and maybe even some panda diplomacy.
I do love pandas.
Oh, me too. Okay, let's start with this article from the Thai government's website.
Okay.
It's about Prime Minister Shinawatra meeting with Chinese President Jinping at the APEC summit in Lima, Peru.
Got it.
What were your first impressions of this meeting? What jumped out at you?
Well, the emphasis on collaboration and mutual support between Thailand and China really stands out.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
President Xi even used the phrase special friendship, and both leaders talked about strengthening ties across the board, economic, cultural, even technological areas.
Right. It seems like a pretty significant partnership.
It is, and it makes sense when you consider China's broader strategy.
In what way?
Well, China's been working to expand its global influence, and Thailand, being strategically located in Southeast Asia, becomes a key partner for them.
So it's not just about warm and fuzzy feelings. There's a strategic element at play here.
Exactly.
The article does mention some specific areas of collaboration, though.
Yes, it does.
What are some of the key takeaways for our listeners? What should they know about?
Well, a big focus is on economic cooperation.
Makes sense.
China's pledged to increase imports from Thailand, especially agricultural products.
That's got to be a good thing for the Thai economy.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big win for them. They're also discussing joint ventures in some really interesting sectors.
Like what?
Like clean energy, digital tech. They even mentioned space exploration.
Wow, space exploration. That's pretty ambitious.
It is, and it shows how this goes beyond a typical trade deal.
Right, suggestive of a much deeper, more integrated partnership.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Okay, now for the fun part. Are you ready for this?
I think so. Hit me.
Pandas.
Haha, I knew it.
The article mentions that China will be gifting Thailand with giant pandas.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is. And it's to celebrate the 50th anniversary of their diplomatic relations.
Nice.
Oh, and there's more. They're also bringing a sacred Buddhist relic, the Buddha tooth relic, from Beijing to Thailand for a special ceremony.
Wow, that's significant.
It is. So what do you make of these gestures, especially in the context of international relations? What's the bigger picture here?
These cultural exchanges are really powerful symbols, symbols of goodwill and friendship.
Right.
Pandas, especially, are often seen as a form of panda diplomacy.
Panda diplomacy. Tell me more about that.
It's a strategic move by China to foster positive relationships with other countries.
I see. So it's not just about the cuteness factor.
Exactly. There's a history to this.
Oh.
Yeah, back in the 1970s, China gifted pandas to the U.S., and it actually helped ease tensions during a pretty difficult time in their relationship.
Wow. So there's a precedent for this.
Exactly. And the fact that they're gifting these pandas during this landmark anniversary really emphasizes how much China values its partnership with Thailand.
And then the Buddha tooth relic adds another layer to that, doesn't it?
It does. It shows a deep respect for Thai culture and further strengthens the bond between the two nations.
It's like they're speaking multiple diplomatic languages at the same time.
Yeah, I like that. It's a multifaceted approach.
Now, there's one more thing from this article that I wanted to get your take on.
Okay, what is it?
It's about BRICS.
Ah, yes. Very interesting.
For those who might not know.
Right. Not everyone's familiar with BRICS.
It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
A group of major emerging economies.
Exactly. And the article mentions Thailand's potential membership in BRICS.
And what does the article say about that?
Well, President Xi expressed his support for Thailand joining.
That's significant.
So what could this mean for Thailand on the world stage if they do end up joining?
Joining BRICS would be a major step for Thailand. It would really elevate their status as a global economic player.
How so?
Well, BRICS nations represent a huge portion of the world's population and GDP, and membership would open doors to new markets, investment opportunities. It could even boost their political influence.
Well, it sounds like a pretty big deal.
It is. It's a sign that Thailand wants to play a larger role in shaping global economic and political landscapes.
So we've got economic deals, cultural exchanges, panda diplomacy, and potentially a new powerful alliance.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process. What are your initial thoughts on all of this? Does it seem like Thailand is playing this right so far?
What strikes me is how proactive Thailand is being in navigating this global landscape, They're not just sitting back and watching things happen. They're actively pursuing opportunities to advance their own interests and position themselves for future growth and influence.
It's like they're making a calculated gamble, betting on closer ties with China and this potential BRICS membership as a way to level up on the world stage.
That's a good way to put it. It's a gamble, but a calculated one.
But what about the potential downsides of getting closer to China? This article doesn't really touch on that.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. There are potential risks to consider alongside the benefits.
Like what?
Well, becoming too economically reliant on any single nation, even one as powerful as China, could make Thailand vulnerable.
That makes sense, putting all your eggs in one basket and all that.
Exactly. And then there's the question of how Thailand's neighbors will view this growing partnership, especially considering some of them have pretty complex relationships with China.
Yeah, it's like they're walking a tightrope, trying to build these new relationships while maintaining their existing ones.
A delicate balancing act, for sure.
So what should we be watching for as these developments unfold? What are the key things to keep an eye on?
Well, one thing to watch is how this new closeness with China will affect Thailand's long-standing ties with the United States and other Western nations.
Right, that's a big one.
It's a delicate balancing act, as we said. And then how will Thailand address concerns about becoming too reliant on China?
Good point. They'll need to have a plan for that.
Absolutely. Diversifying their economic partnerships and strengthening regional alliances could be key.
It sounds like we're just at the beginning of this story.
I think so. There's a lot more to unfold.
There's so much more to explore, but we'll do just that after a quick message.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be right back with more insights on Thailand's global rise.
Thailand's location is a huge factor here.
You mean geographically?
Yeah, right in the heart of Southeast Asia.
Right, kind of a crossroads.
Exactly, a bridge between East and West makes them a crucial player in the region.
Okay, so it's not just about Thailand and China, it's about the whole region. How might this growing relationship with China affect Thailand's relationships with other countries, especially those in the region, with all those existing alliances and dynamics?
It's a tough situation, no easy answers.
I bet.
Thailand has strong ties with the U.S., long-standing ones. And on the other hand, China's influence in the region is undeniable.
Yeah, economically, they're a powerhouse.
Exactly, so Thailand needs to tread carefully.
Walk that tightrope.
Yeah, find a balance, avoid taking sides.
I can imagine some of their neighbors are a little nervous.
Definitely. Some Southeast Asian countries have those disputes with China.
In the South China Sea.
Right. So as Thailand gets closer to China, that they'll need to reassure their neighbors that it's not an either situation.
Trying to keep everyone happy at a family reunion with some underlying tension.
Exactly. And it's not just politics, it's economics too.
Right. Thailand relies on trade with both sides.
Yeah, with China and Western countries, finding a way to leverage those relationships will be key.
But tricky.
Very tricky.
So looking ahead, what does this all mean for Thailand's future on the global stage? Is this their moment?
I think Thailand's at a really pivotal moment. They have the potential to become a leader in Southeast Asia.
Wow, really?
Yeah, shaping the region, contributing to global conversations, things like economic development, climate change, technological innovation.
That's a lot.
It is, but they need to be smart about it.
Uh,
Deft diplomacy, strategic decision-making, a clear vision for the future.
We've talked about a lot of potential upsides, but what about the challenges? What hurdles might they face as they try to navigate these new partnerships and their changing role in the world?
One big challenge will be staying neutral in the midst of all the tension between the big players.
Like the U.S. and China.
Exactly.
Tough spot.
Yeah, Thailand has to assert its independence, avoid being seen as picking a side.
And you mentioned economic dependence on China before.
Right.
Are there any other potential risks with closer ties?
One risk that people talk about is the potential erosion of democratic values.
Because China's political system is so different.
Yeah, some worry about pressure to adopt more authoritarian practices.
So it's not just economics and pandas. There's this whole layer of political and ideological considerations too.
Definitely. Another challenge will be managing expectations within Thailand.
What do you mean?
The government will need to make sure everyone benefits from these global engagements.
Making sure everyone gets a slice of the pie.
Right, addressing issues like income inequality, regional disparities, access to opportunity.
That's important for stability.
For sure, social cohesion and stability are crucial. Sustainable growth needs a holistic approach.
Balancing economic prosperity with social well-being and the environment.
You got it.
That's a lot to juggle.
It is, but domestic stability and social progress are the foundation for any country's global aspirations.
Makes sense.
Thailand needs to invest in its people, infrastructure, institutions to be ready for the future.
Right, getting things right at home is just as important as those global wins.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, from panda diplomacy to BRICS, and it's clear these things are all connected.
Yeah, they are.
It's a bigger picture than just the headlines.
Right. It's history, geography, strategic ambition.
Shows how interconnected the world is.
It does. Understanding global affairs isn't just reading the headlines. It's digging deeper.
Into the connections and the forces shaping our world.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting.
It's like a giant puzzle.
And it's constantly changing.
Every article, every diplomatic move adds a new piece.
Exactly, and we get a front row seat to watch it all unfold.
We've talked about the potential benefits of BRICS membership, but what about the challenges? Joining a club like that can't be all smooth sailing, can it?
No, not really. BRICS offers a lot of opportunities like expanded trade and investment, but it comes with responsibilities too.
I see. So what kind of responsibilities?
Well, Thailand would need to navigate some complex negotiations, potentially align its economic policies with other BRICS members, and think about what it means for existing trade agreements.
So it's not just a free pass to economic success.
More like joining a team. You get the support, but you got to play by the rules, contribute to the team's success.
And the stakes are pretty high.
Global, even with economic and political implications beyond Thailand.
So Thailand needs to weigh those costs and benefits carefully. What should we be watching for as they figure this out?
One key thing is how Thailand manages its relationships with BRICS nations and its existing partners like Western countries.
Because those could be conflicting.
Yeah, there could be pressure to align more closely with BRICS policies, which might cause some friction.
Back to that balancing act.
Exactly. Another thing to watch is how Thailand uses this membership to help its own economic interests.
In what way?
Do they prioritize ties with existing BRICS partners or see it as a chance to forge new connections in emerging markets?
Yeah, a lot of possibilities.
Definitely, and this BRICS membership adds another layer to Thailand's global strategy.
Which is already pretty ambitious.
It is, and it's all happening as the world is changing so fast.
Right, new alliances, new economic powerhouses.
Thailand wants to be a major player in this new world.
Well, we've explored a lot today, from panda diplomacy to BRICS membership, and it's clear that these things are all connected, Aisha.
Oh, definitely.
So what's the one big takeaway for our listeners today?
I'd say it's this. Thailand is on the rise. They're making big moves, forging new partnerships, and aiming for a bigger role on the world stage.
They're not messing around.
No, they're not. The choices they make will have a big impact, not just for Thailand, but for the region and maybe even the whole world.
So Thailand's story is just getting started.
It is, and it's definitely worth watching.
It sounds like it. Well, thank you for taking us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the stories that shape our world. We'll be back soon with another fascinating deep dive. Until then, stay curious.